Welcome to our executive interview series at the Elastic Public Sector Summit produced by FedScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and we're here with Chris Townsend, Vice President of Sales, Public Sector at Elastic. Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Wyatt. Great to see you as always.
One of the things I'd like to explore with you is the concept of a data mesh. Can you talk about how a data mesh approach can improve an organization's data agility and also things like governance and usability?
Yeah, I love it. That's our secret sauce. That's our biggest differentiator at Elastic. So I could talk about data mesh all day. So, the concept of data mesh is essentially taking the search to the data rather than bringing the data to search. Thinking about the data having gravity and not wanting to, incur the ingress-egress charges for moving data in and out of various hyperscaler environments. We already have a data duplication problem, so we don't want to duplicate more data. We don't want to replicate data. We want to be able to interrogate the data where the data lives. And that's, in a nutshell, that's data mesh. Now, there's a lot more to it. If you think about achieving a common data sharing standard, that's really a goal for many of our government agencies and beyond our government agencies, coming up with a way to facilitate open standards around data sharing. And there's an organization called the OpenTelemetry Project, OTEL, that is doing that very thing. And they've approached Elastic about open sourcing our common schema to the OTEL project for both log and security data to start to facilitate that common data standard. So we're taking steps there. But in a nutshell, what data mesh allows you to do is using an open standards-based approach, interrogate the data where the data lives, and then interrogate that data centrally. And a great use case for that in practical application is what the CDM programs do in the Department of Homeland Security. So the Continuous Diagnostics and Mitigation program, they have a central point that they're interrogating this data out at hundreds of agencies that fall under the DHS CDM program. They have small Elastic clusters embedded in all of those agencies. Those clusters interrogate the data, whether it's in the cloud or on-prem, could be multi-cloud. So when the CDM folks want to look for a threat or any particular indicator of compromise, they can search it centrally, interrogates the data locally, and just pulls back the relevant results. Very different than some of the other approaches where they want you to replicate all your data or forklift your data onto a central repository.
It's a great explanation, probably the best we've heard all morning, so thank you for kind of articulating how that works. I think the other one I wanted to ask about is the skills for AI and how you see AI actually helping to close the skills gaps that government agencies are facing.
Yeah, so today at our public sector event, we had all these great government speakers and panelists that were talking about all of the use cases in government for generative AI, and they're almost unlimited in the things that we can do with generative AI to improve customer experience, improve the mission. You think about paying claims or allowing the consumers of the information, the citizens, to interface with Social Security or IRS or Medicare or the VA. So there's so many potential applications to use generative AI to improve the experience, to improve the user experience, and Elastic facilitates a lot of that with our vector search database. So I'll give you a functional example there. The VA has what they call the PACT Act, right? So veterans that served in the Middle East at a certain time period that are exposed to open burn pits, that type of thing, qualify for some additional benefits. They've been advertising that. That's a new thing. I think it came out about a year ago. They've been advertising it so the veterans know whether or not they qualify and how to get those benefits. We were doing a demonstration the other day for the VA on how they could use generative AI and a large language model to improve the ability of veterans to realize if they qualify for the benefit and then how to get the benefit, how to apply for it. And we did this on our own. We just indexed their public data off their website, applied a large language model to it, and applied a chatbot that you can speak to, right? So it's natural language. And you just ask the chatbot, hey, I served in the Middle East from this year to this year. Do I qualify for the PACT Act? Comes back, tells you yes or no if you qualified, gives you some additional information. And then it also will say, hey, do you want to apply? And it gives you a link, and you say, yes, I would like to apply. Email me that, and it emails you the link. So, the way that you search for that now, you go to the VA website, you search like most websites, and you get pages and pages of links you got to sort through and try to figure it all out. So the opportunity for generative AI to just streamline government interaction with their consumers, their constituents, the citizenry, is huge. And then if you look at how you apply it internally, we are using it. We've built it into our security platform. So our SIM and our threat hunting platform, we do a lot across governments, very large agencies. And Our SOC operators, our analysts, the security analysts, are really hard to find and retain, and they're a key resource. We want to make life as simple for them as possible and make them as effective as possible. And what we've done is used a large language model to look at all of the alerts that the systems are generating that they look at every morning when they come into work, and identifying which of those alerts is probably a coordinated attack that they should prioritize. And there's a lot that goes into that. We're like loading the MITRE attack framework into that LLM. We're loading a lot of really specific data that mostly the analysts would have in their heads that now we can leverage an LLM to improve them and make them more effective and more efficient. So just a lot of, I can go on and on and on, obviously, about all of the opportunities to use generative AI to improve agencies in terms of their experience with the end consumer and in terms of the internal use cases.
Well, Chris Townsend, I know it's been an exciting day here at the Elastic Public Sector Summit. Thank you for taking a few minutes to join us here and kind of just share some of your insights about how this is unfolding and helping the federal government.
Thank you, Wyatt. As always, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.